Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another Steven Seagal movie review. Although he doesn't he doesn't star in the film, he's in the film, which is why he was able to be in 7 movies in the year 2017, 16. See, these fucking Steven Seagal films are literally they're zapping the fucking brain cells out. I can't even tell what fucking year it is. 7 movies in the year 2016. This marathon started off well with Above the Law and March for Death and Out for Justice and even stuff like The Glimmer Man and Fire Down Below. And then you get the shit like Today You Die or fucking Tac Force or Submerged or Black Dawn or Against the Dark or Side of My Ass or even films he's barely in. They're still a shit like The Asian Connection and Sniper Special Ops in this one, Killing Salazar. He's not the star of the film. The star is Luke Goss, who was in another Seagal film, Mercenary for Justice. He was the bad guy in Blade 2. He was in the Death Race sequels that went straight to video. And Luke Goss is an agent being questioned by Steven Seagal, who has his bored and raspy fucking voice. And it's a film where most of it's told in flashback. You remember John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars? When you had Natasha Henstridge telling people what happened. It's that kind of thing. And a lot of times that sucks. You want to know why? Because you already know that, well, Luke Goss, it's Steven Seagal. Of course he's going to be alright. He's invincible. But you kind of know how it ends when you start off with, well, Luke Goss is alive and Steven Seagal is questioning Luke Goss on what happened. And more importantly, like, because that you could say, well, who gives a shit? Usually the hero, well, sometimes the hero survives. And Matt, you usually like that kind of stuff. Okay, disregard that. Here's the other thing. It breaks the fucking momentum. Any flow that this film wants to have gets broken because every 10, 15 minutes it goes back to Steven Seagal interrogating Luke Goss as to what happened that day? What happened that day? And it just breaks any flow. But anyway, Seagal's asking Luke Goss, and then Seagal has his own flashback about how he led this team in to capture this guy who's this drug lord, crime lord called Salazar, while the bad guy's playing chess, and Seagal shoots one guy who's on fire. George St. Pierre, who deals with MMA, he's in there sort of working for Salazar. And he's kind of fighting these guys off, and Seagal pretty much shoots him, I think, in the chest, but the guy had a vest on, so he's alive. And he comes back later in the film. But it has a fight with Seagal at the end. But George St. Pierre's in this. But Seagal shoots Salazar. You think Salazar's dead, but of course later on you realize, no, Salazar is not dead. He guess his death was pretend because he's going to turn over evidence, and I'll get to that. So after that siege on the bad guy Salazar's place, Luke Goss comes in with this group of people. He's being given shit by these people. You have this quick little scene where they want him to see what he can do, and Luke Goss quick shoots a bunch of targets in this exercise. Again, throughout this film, it goes back to Seagal questioning him on what happened. And Luke Goss, with about 4 or 5 people, their job is, they think, to get Salazar's dead body across the border into the US. No, it's actually Salazar's alive. And he's a witness, and they're supposed to escort him, but they have to sit him at this hotel for 24 hours until the guy gets the all clear. And of course, then later on they find out that guy is working with the bad guys, and so you find that out later. So Luke Goss, these guys have to sit on Salazar in this hotel. And the bad guys led by George St. Pierre, go into the hotel. They break into the room at one point from the outside, rappelling from the roof, break in. Salazar seems like he's doing more than Luke Goss at times because he doesn't want to die. These people are going for him because he's turning and becoming a witness. Blows a hand off of a bad guy. He gets some gunfire. Luke Goss, he does a little bit in this parking garage. Shoots at some guys. Has a decent, well, an alright little fight in a parking garage. Stabs one guy. The girl that was with him gets taken, and he wants to try to rescue her. And once again, you get these interruptions from Steven Seagal interrogating Luke Goss. I guarantee they did that because they're like, well, we have Steven Seagal, but if we don't have these interrogations, which is exposition, but that way we sprinkle Seagal throughout the film, so it seems like he's throughout the film instead of the very beginning or the very end. One of Luke Goss's teammates fights George St. Pierre, and George St. Pierre breaks the guy's legs and chokes him with his legs, using a little bit of his MMA style fighting. Luke Goss meets up with Salazar, and they walk and talk. Most of Luke Goss's team gets wiped out, except this woman, Salazar, their prisoner, and Luke Goss. And then at the end, Seagal and his team goes in, and Seagal is shooting some random guys, either on a stairwell. At one point, Luke Goss is getting the shit beaten down by George St. Pierre. And so Salazar comes in, tries to kill him, but he runs off, and Salazar kills a few people. Again, I think Salazar has a bigger body count than our lead guy. It seems like he's doing more than our lead guy at times. And then the guy who is the crooked agent who told them to sit there at that hotel, Luke Goss fights him. A little bit of back and forth. Ultimately, he gets a hammer, and the sharp end puts into the crooked agent's neck. Seagal gets in a little fight with George St. Pierre. And of course, like every fight with Seagal, who's fat, overweight, slow, and edited not the best, can't get it. I think quickly Seagal gets hit and falls down, but then gets up as if nothing. Hell, before it, him and George St. Pierre fall off this balcony, land. Imagine this is the balcony, they land all the way to the floor. Seagal gets up like there's nothing. At least George St. Pierre, when he gets up, he's kind of selling that he's hurt. Fucking man, Seagal, come on. Can you leave your ego at the door? Can you at least pretend that falling off that fucking height would make you at least a little bit stiff and hurt? But no. And Seagal makes quick work of George St. Pierre, puts this knife slowly into the guy's neck. And pretty much what happens is, and I realized lately as I'm reviewing this, I have a cat, and he keeps screaming at me as if, stop talking about fat fuck Seagal. If you can't hear that, if you can, that's why. Because he's tired of me talking about Seagal, just like I'm sure a lot of people are, but I'm going to finish this shit. And pretty much this review's finished because you find out that Salazar gets away with the girl. Oh, what a twist. You find out that the girl, who is part of Luke Goss's team, is actually Salazar's sister. And then Salazar had given Luke Goss his key for money. And Seagal tells him that the girl was Salazar's sister. And Seagal believes that Luke Goss is innocent. And then Luke Goss has his key. And for a split second, I'm like, okay, he gets on this motorcycle as if he's Tom Cruise at Top Gun, rides off. And I'm thinking, is he going after Salazar? Or I guess with the key, he's going after and getting his money. And Salazar just gave him the key because Luke Goss helped him and helped his sister, even when Luke Goss didn't know it was his sister. And even though Salazar is a bad guy, crime lord, he still cares about his family. So, yeah, Luke Goss didn't know this woman was his sister, was Salazar's sister, but hey, you have a man of morals, and here's a key. That's literally the movie. I just told you the entire film. George St. Pierre, if you're into MMA fighting, you get a little bit of fisticuffs with him when he fights one of the good guy teammates and breaks his legs and kills him. Or what he fights these two guys earlier during Seagal's sieging on Salazar's place. Or the little fight he has with Steven Seagal. All that you could probably find on YouTube. And the guy wasn't much of an actor, and as for the fighting, I don't know, it's it's a shrug. I don't know, I can't say much about it. It was like, oh, whatever. It didn't really blow me away or anything. Luke Goss, he's an alright actor in the film. He's not really given much to do. His character's really nothing. Pretty much just has to sit there explaining everything to Seagal. And even, in the hotel, I'm like, are they trying to go for that movie Smoking Aces or something? I don't like either one, but just made me think of a witness and people coming into the hotel and trying to kill the witness. But it's just, I watched the film and I go, okay, I guess that was the twist. That woman was Salazar's sister, okay. It was one of those movies you watch, you go, I don't know what the fuck to say about this movie. It's not much to run home about. The plot, the idea, the cast, the acting, Seagal's raspy, bored voice, the action scenes are not much to run home about. It's something that you've seen, and hell, you've seen in TV shows, let alone 100 movies. It's one of those things you watch and you go, unless you're a diehard Steven Seagal fan, you want to see every single little bit that he's in. Why? What's the point of this film? Or unless you're a diehard Luke Goss fan or a diehard George St. Pierre fan, just a 3.7 IMDb, that's definitely understandable. It's one of the movies that you just go. There's one user review on IMDb. Jesus. Who gave it a 1 star. While others in this age are already in nursing home of their choice or enjoying some beers in the local dive bar, we're truly blessed. Cynicism. Nothing to see here, move on. It's just another lame stare at a wall, watch some paint dry direct-to-DVD movie of a former actor who recently is just moving from chair to chair. This movie is so bad it's not even worth watching it for free. You have been warned. He couldn't muster anything either. It's just Luke Goss is holding this guy Salazar, and he has a couple guys with him. Some guys going to a hotel. You get some really blasé shootouts, some meh little fights that are just there, that you've seen in 100 action movies, and you've seen 100 better fight scenes in action movies. Hell, there are dozens of Seagal films you could watch for better fights. Even films like Urban Justice or Pistol Whipped for his direct-to-video stuff. You just watch this and you go, there's not much to say about it. And yeah, again, if you didn't hear that, my cat's crying again, so I better ease up his torment of me talking about Seagal. And ease up your torment, listen to me talk about this. Killing Salazar, yeah, the movie can go kill itself. It's a whole nothing of a movie. There's no reason to rewatch it. You It's an in one ear, out the other. You forget it in an hour. Not even a day. You forget it in an hour after watching it. Waste of money. Waste of time. Waste of resources. There's nothing even like so bad you can laugh at. It's just one big pile of nothing. And recently with Seagal, he's in more and more movies that are just one big pile of nothing. And I'm getting more. Yay. See you later.